Got me all worked up and now you're trying to run away. The man wrapped his arm around me, his face drawing closer and closer. My cheeks flushed bright red with embarrassment, and I didn't dare lift my head. His charming, peach blossom eyes glinted with a mischievous smile as he breathed softly near my ear. If you're looking to have a baby, I can give it my best shot too. On the first day of the new year, I received my ex-boyfriend's wedding invitation. My best friend, Juan, poked my forehead with a look of exasperation. Then without a word, pulled me out of bed, saying she was taking me to meet a super amazing tarot master to get my love fortune read. I was reluctant. I hadn't finished watching the new drama, starring my celebrity crush, Bosco Wong. Juan snatched my phone away. Keep watching, but Bosco Wong will never be your husband. Little did I know that on that very day, I would actually meet a man who looked strikingly similar to Bosco Wong. And he even wrapped his arm around my waist, demanding I take responsibility for him. Master, I'd like a reading. Staring at the man across from me, I swallowed nervously. Just a minute earlier, Juan had pushed me into the private room, then dashed out to meet someone. Before leaving, she whispered mysteriously that the tarot master was already inside. When I entered the room, there was only a young man sitting there, casually shuffling the tarot cards in his hands. His slender, well-defined hands were almost unfairly attractive, and I couldn't help but steal a few more glances. What would you like to know? A deep, magnetic voice slowly filled the room. A slight shiver ran through me, a tingling sensation spreading over my skin. What is it about this voice that feels so ... suggestive somehow? Just then, the man slowly lifted his head. When I clearly saw his face, I was completely stunned. Oh my God, I was looking at a face that bore an uncanny resemblance to Bosco Wong. The sharp, distinct features, the slightly curved thick eyebrows, and those eyes brimming with laziness and a hint of mischief. Not a 100% match, but at least 70% similar. Especially when he looked at me, the corners of his lips lifting into that roguish smile. My heart began to race uncontrollably, and I couldn't tear my gaze away. Why didn't that dog, Juan, tell me the tarot master was this handsome? Glancing down at the oversized sweatshirt I'd thrown on, I suddenly regretted not dressing up before leaving the house. Weren't you here for a reading? What do you want to know? The corner of his lips curved up as he watched me with amusement, snapping me out of my daydream though, bringing me back to reality. Somehow, in a moment of heat, the words tumbled out of my mouth. A child. A child. The master's magnetic voice sounded again, laced with a hint of teasing and playfulness. I froze. What did I just say? It's all Juan's fault. Always going on about wanting a child, making me speak without thinking. I quickly waved my hands, my face turning beet red. No, I misspoke. I meant ... Love fortune ... Love fortune. The master repeated meaningfully. My face flushed even redder. I just came with a friend, asking casually ... This is too embarrassing. Oh. For some reason the master dragged out the O, making my heart flutter wildly. Pick a card. The man laid 3 tarot cards in front of me, lifting his gaze to smile at me. I paused, sneaking another look at him, especially noticing that roguish smile in his eyes. I silently swallowed, feeling the temperature in my cheeks skyrocket. No. If I keep looking, I won't be able to hold back. I hastily lowered my head and randomly drew a card. Love Eye. I blinked slightly. This is... I looked up at the man, confused. He gently tapped the card with his fingertip, a slight curve on his lips. It seems your love fortune this year is quite promising. I blinked silently, staring at that dazzlingly handsome face, feeling my heart sway uncontrollably. The man looked at me, his brow slightly raised, and asked me to draw 5 more cards. I nervously watched him. He lowered his head to look at the cards, the smile in his eyes deepening. The cards show that your Prince Charming will appear this year, and there's a high chance of a happy ending, like marriage. He paused, looking up at me with that mischievous smile. As for having a child, with some effort, there's still hope. Hearing his words, my face burned even hotter. Just then, the door to the private room opened from the outside. Sweetie, I found the master for you. Juan's excited voice came from the doorway. I stiffened, looking over to see Hee-won rushing toward me, followed by a distinguished-looking middle-aged man. "Sweetie, turns out the master stepped out to take a call earlier. I ran into him on my way back." Hee-won excitedly ran to my side, pointing at the middle-aged man standing by the door. The middle-aged man glanced at me, and the man across from me. For some reason, I felt his gaze was rather meaningful. But right now, my mind was buzzing, and I couldn't focus on him. I stared blankly at Hee-won, then at the man who looked so much like Bosco Wong, and saw the smile on his lips growing deeper and deeper. I think I understand now. Oh my god, at this moment I want to disappear into the ground. To make matters worse, Hee-won, never one to shy away from stirring trouble, kept urging me to get a reading from the middle-aged man. This master is incredibly accurate. Every reading hits the mark. If he weren't Uncle Xiao Yuzi's childhood friend's uncle, we wouldn't have been able to get him here. Hurry up. I don't want a reading anymore. Double quotes. What's the point of a reading now? I'm already drowning in embarrassment. But before I could finish, that dog, Hee-won, gave me a push. Caught off guard, I lost my balance, stumbled forward, and fell straight toward the ground. This is it. This is it. There's no avoiding making a fool of myself now. I resigned myself and closed my eyes. Just as I thought I was about to make intimate contact with the floor, I suddenly felt a tight grip around my waist. The next second, a warm, large hand pulled me close. In my panic, my hand landed right on his chest. Even through his clothes, I could feel the firm muscles. Thump, thump, thump. My heart raced wildly, feeling like it might jump out any second. "Are you okay?" A voice so captivating it could make someone pregnant sounded above my head. A slight tremor ran through my heart. I'm embarrassed. I looked up as I spoke and met a pair of clear, mischievously smiling eyes. Facing that handsome face so close, only one thought echoed in my mind. I'm done for. The man's eyes curved into a smile, beaming brilliantly. Seeing his undisguised amusement, I finally snapped back to reality. Oh my god, what did I just do? Mortified, I quickly broke free from his embrace, scurried back to my seat, and curled up into a ball. To make matters worse, that dog, Hee-won, was not only grinning from ear to ear but was also scrutinizing the man like a mother-in-law meeting her future son-in-law. Her delight was impossible to hide. She came over to pull me up, smiling. "Sweetie ... I glared at her angrily, about to speak, when a voice suddenly came from the doorway. "Well, everyone's here." A few people walked in. At the front was Hee-won's husband, Cheng Yu, followed by several young men. I opened my mouth, swallowing the words on the tip of my tongue. Cheng Yu saw the man across from me and walked over with a smile to greet him. "You're here early, man." "Nothing much going on, so I came a bit earlier." The man smiled back at him. Maybe it was my imagination, but I felt his gaze subtly sweep over me, carrying a hint of mischief. I lowered my head even further. Hee-won seized the chance to whisper in my ear. "Sweetie, is he your type?" "He's Xiao Yuzi's childhood friend, just back from abroad. As soon as I saw her, I knew you'd like him." "So what do you think?" Surprised. She might as well have said outright that this was a setup for a blind date. My inner thoughts at that moment. What a huge surprise indeed. And to make it worse, that devilishly handsome man glanced at me with those narrow, deep eyes, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. My heart raced, my cheeks flushed hotly, and at that moment I desperately wished I could turn invisible. Thinking about how I asked him for a reading, talked about wanting love and a child, and then fell right into his arms, I suddenly felt completely overwhelmed. I shrunk into myself like a quail, trying to minimize my presence as much as possible. "Cheng Yu, is this the childhood friend you mentioned? Come sit over here." That dog, Hee-won, pretended to stand up and give up her seat. As she turned, she winked at me and mouthed, "Go for it." I wanted to cry. "Go for it, my foot. Can I just run away, please?" While I was lost in my thoughts, I suddenly felt the seat beside me sink. A magnetic voice sounded softly above my head. He actually sat down right next to me. Hello. By the way, the one next to you is my best friend, Lin Yu." Hee-won grinned from across the table, still winking at me. Embarrassed, I tightened my grip on the hem of my shirt, refusing to lift my head. "Hello, Miss Lin. I'm Kiao Yi. Pleased to meet you." A magnetic, velvety voice came from above, accompanied by a wave of intense masculine scent. My heartbeat inexplicably skipped a beat, and against my better judgment, I looked up. Then I saw the teasing glint in Kiao Yi's narrow, deep eyes, filled with meaning. I want to die." Luckily, everyone else was gathered around the middle-aged man getting their readings, so no one noticed us over here. I shifted to the side, glaring at him angrily, and hissed through gritted teeth. "You clearly aren't the tarot master, so why did you trick me?" Kiao Yi shrugged innocently, a faint smile curling his lips. "Miss Lin, I don't think I ever said I was the tarot master, did I?" I was stunned, my mouth hanging open for a long moment, trying to recall the earlier scene carefully. That actually seemed to be true. I came in, saw him playing with tarot cards, and just assumed he was the tarot master. I never thought I'd trip up so badly. Biting my lip, I made one last attempt. "But you asked me what I wanted a reading for." "Theft." Kiao Yi couldn't hold back a laugh, his handsome eyes nearly crinkling into crescents. "Wasn't it you who asked me for a reading?" As he spoke, he leaned a little closer, so close that I could clearly see his smooth skin, not a single pore in sight. This guy's skin is seriously too good. Even as a woman, I'm jealous. Is this really the time for these thoughts? I couldn't help but knock myself on the head. Kiao Yi rested his chin on his hand, his incredibly beautiful eyes fixed on me, the corners of his lips lifting slightly. "Miss Lin, has anyone ever told you that you're very cute?" I froze in place, my clenched fist suspended mid-air. Especially when meeting those eyes, a tingle spread through my heart. It felt like I'd been electrocuted. Oh my God, this guy seems to rad temptation all over. Who could resist this? I'm afraid if I lose control for a moment, I might just pounce on him. Embarrassed, I withdrew my hand and grabbed a wine glass from the table, downing it in one gulp. "Miss Lin," that magnetic, velvety voice sounded by my ear again, making my heart itch. I forced myself to calm down and glared at him angrily. Doesn't this guy know he's practically inviting someone to commit a crime? Kiao Yi was caught off guard by my glare for a few seconds, then slowly shifted his gaze to the glass in my hand, looking genuinely regretful. "I just wanted to remind you. This glass is mine." PFFFT. The wine I hadn't yet swallowed sprayed right out. The room fell instantly silent. Everyone's eyes turned toward me. I was dumbstruck. It's over, my image is completely ruined. Unable to bear everyone's strange looks, I fled the room in shame. Only after running out of the bar did I gasp heavily for air. Oh my God, I must have run into the god of bad luck today. What a shame about that guy earlier. Putting everything else aside, he was seriously easy on the eyes. Thinking this, my mind uncontrollably conjured up Kiao Yi's face with that roguish smile. A shiver ran through me. Forget it. There's no chance with him in this lifetime. I sent He-Huan a message telling her I was heading home, then hailed a cab. The car arrived quickly. Just as I got in and was about to close the door, I suddenly noticed someone holding it firmly open. Then I watched helplessly as Kiao Yi leisurely climbed inside. Wide-eyed and horrified, I stammered, You. After you, for a long moment, staring at that handsomely magnified face up close, I still couldn't get the rest of the words out. Kiao Yi closed the car door, glanced at me, and curved his lips. "Sister-in-law told me to take you home. You could have refused." I blurted out without thinking. Oh my God, how awkward. I just want to retreat to my nest and stay far away from this guy, okay? Kiao Yi leaned back comfortably in the seat, turned to look at me, and said slowly, "Oh, then why don't you tell sister-in-law that? Tell He-Huan." I scoffed inwardly. Yeah, right. That woman is dying for me to spend more time with Kiao Yi. If I talk to her now, I'll only torture my own ears. Defeated, I slumped back into the seat, shifting my hips to put as much distance between us as possible. Sitting in the same car with him is like sitting on pins and needles. I can barely breathe, so I just turn and pretend to look out the window. Just endure a little longer. As soon as we get home, I can shake off this guy. Never imagined 20 minutes could feel this long. Finally arriving, I hastily paid the fare and got out, keeping my head down as I spoke to Qiao Yi. I'm home now, you can head back. Without waiting for his reaction, I took off running. But before I could get far, an arm suddenly pulled me back and I fell into a warm, broad embrace. I blinked in confusion, still processing what had just happened. The next second, I saw Qiao Yi's Bosco Wong-like face drawing closer and closer. Does Miss Lin always like to flirt and then run away? In that moment, my brain felt like mush, a chaotic mess. I stared blankly at Qiao Yi's devastatingly handsome face, my heart racing wildly, my tongue tangled. Not flirting and running away. So, as Qiao Yi spoke, he lowered his face a little more, looking at me with a teasing smile. You admit you were flirting with me earlier. His incredibly beautiful eyes seemed to sparkle with starlight, making it impossible to look away. Finally, snapping back to reality, I pushed him away, my face burning with embarrassment. Don't talk nonsense. When did I flirt with you? I didn't. I wouldn't. Qiao Yi looked at me with that half-smile, speaking seriously. No? He slowly bent down to my eye level, his full sensual lips curving upward. Then who asked me for a love fortune reading, and even talked about wanting a child? And who drank from my wine glass? And finally, who threw herself into my arms and even touched my body? Qiao Yi's rapid-fire questions left me dazed. These all seemed to be things I did, especially when he mentioned touching his body. My earlobes uncontrollably heated up. Staring at that irresistibly handsome face before me, I felt a slight urge to fall into it. Qiao Yi's eyes curved slightly, a mischievous glint in them. Suddenly, he wrapped an arm around my waist, pulling me close and forcing me to meet his gaze. Since you've been so proactive in flirting with me, it would be impolite of me not to do something. Then I saw his handsome face drawing closer and closer, looking like he was about to kiss me the next second. My heart pounded wildly, my body stiff as a board. Watching the man's approaching face, panic surged inside me. In the end, without even knowing how it happened, I nervously closed my eyes. Then I heard a soft chuckle by my ear. My eyes flew open to see Qiao Yi wearing a playful, teasing expression. Suddenly I realized he'd played me again. Just as I was about to push his hand away, I felt his grip tighten around my waist, startling me. Qiao Yi slowly leaned close to my ear and whispered softly, "If you're looking for a man, you can just ask me. And of course, if you want a child, I can give it my best shot too." My face flushed crimson with embarrassment, snapping me back to reality instantly. This guy is too wicked. I almost got swept up by him again. Furious and ashamed, I pushed him away hard, shot him a fierce glare, and turned to run toward my apartment building. "Miss Lin, Happy New Year." A gentle, magnetic voice came from behind me. My steps faltered. No, I can't let this guy tempt me again. I covered my ears and ran off, silently swearing to myself never to see this guy again. I never imagined that a week later, not only would we meet again, but he'd become my boyfriend. That night, Hee-won called excitedly. "Sweetie, how was Xiao Yuzi's childhood friend today?" "Pretty great, right? Just tell me, were you blown away by his looks? I even specifically asked him to take you home." Super thoughtful, right? Me. A bit too thoughtful. Thanks. My mind involuntarily conjured up Qiao Yi's stunningly handsome face. Had to admit, the guy really was handsome. But thinking about all the awkward things that happened tonight, I shook my head firmly. Him and me? No chance. Thanks. Hee-hwan's disappointed voice came through the phone. How could that be? He fits all your criteria perfectly. I awkwardly forced a smile and changed the subject. By the way, about Juhu's wedding. I'm not going. Can you take a gift envelope for me when you go? Go, you have to go. You absolutely must go. Hee-hwan said indignantly. Not only are you going, but I'm going to make you the brightest star at the wedding. Make that awful couple furious. I paused. No need. Before I could finish, I heard Hee-won's hurried voice. Sweetie, don't worry. I'll handle everything. Before I could reply, She hung up. Staring at the abruptly ended call, I sighed deeply. Leaving it to Hee-won. Something about that just doesn't feel right. A week later, Hee-won showed up at my door early in the morning, laden with bags large and small. I opened the door with my hair a mess and dark circles under my eyes from working late last night, staring at her blankly. Hee-won took one look at my disheveled appearance and sighed in exasperation, dragging me to sit on the sofa and working on my face for what felt like ages. 2 hours later, she looked at her handiwork and nodded in satisfaction. Here, put this dress on. I glanced at the backless mermaid gown in Hee-won's hands and rubbed my forehead. That's really not necessary. Hee-won glared at me. Changing or not? Me. Succumbing to her pressure, I finally changed into the mermaid dress, mentally planning to find a chance to switch into a different dress later. Hee-won looked me over and nodded approvingly, smiling mysteriously. Now everything is ready except the east wind. I paused and looked at her, puzzled. East wind? Just as I was wondering, a knock sounded at the door. Hee-won winked at me. The east wind has arrived. With that, she hurried to open the door. I looked toward the entrance, confused. Then I saw Kiao-yi leaning lazily against the doorframe. He wore what looked like a custom-tailored suit paired with perfectly fitted dress pants, accentuating his long legs. Under the suit jacket, he wore a white shirt with a red tie, giving off an air of restrained elegance. I couldn't help but remember the firm chest muscles I'd felt before. Looks lean in clothes, built without them. That probably describes him, right? What am I overthinking about? Snapping back to reality, I lifted my gaze and met Kiao-yi's teasing eyes. Feeling a bit guilty, I stumbled, almost falling. Miss Lin, we meet again. Kiao-yi leaned against the door, waving slightly, a faint smile curling his lips that somehow felt suggestive. My barely balanced stance almost gave way again. I forced an awkward smile, pulling the gleefully watching Hee-won aside. You called him here? Hee-won nodded. Yes. So, how about this east wind? Not bad, right? The two of you showing up at the wedding will definitely steal the spotlight. Make that awful couple furious. I rubbed my forehead in frustration. This woman really knows how to make trouble for me. Speaking of which, I sensed something between you two. Hee-won nudged me with her elbow, whispering in my ear. You don't know this, but when I mentioned needing someone to pretend to be your boyfriend for your ex's wedding, he agreed without hesitation. I paused slightly, looking at her in surprise. Hee-won gave me a mysterious smile, then turned to Kiao-yi. Well, Kiao-yi, I'm entrusting our Xiao-yu to you. Coming back to my senses, I glared at Hee-won. Wait. What does entrusting to Kiao-yi mean? Of course, Hee-won ignored my questioning look, cheerfully pushing me toward Kiao-yi. I still need to go get ready myself. You two go ahead. As she spoke, she didn't forget to wink at me. And just like that, I was foolishly sold out by this woman. After Hee-won left, only Kiao-yi and I remained in the room. Awkwardness hung in the air. Standing in the middle of the room, I felt at a loss. Just as I was about to speak, I met Kiao-yi's appraising gaze as he looked me up and down. A roguish smile played on his lips. Never expected Miss Lin to have such a good figure. In the quiet room, Kiao-yi's low, magnetic voice suddenly sounded, carrying a hint of amusement. I froze, swallowing the words I was about to say. It was only then I remembered I was still wearing the backless dress Hee-won insisted on. I wonder if I could just find some tofu to run into. Wait for me a moment, I'll go change. After stammering that out, I fled in a panic to my room, slamming the door shut with a bang. So embarrassing. Damn Hee-won. Why did she have to put me in this outfit? Kiao-yi's blatantly appraising look earlier made me feel like I wasn't wearing anything. Patting my cheeks to calm down quickly, I found a purple dress from my closet and changed into it. I bought this dress abroad earlier. I usually save it for special occasions. It should match Kiao-yi's elegant outfit, right? What am I thinking? After carefully checking my makeup, I slowly, reluctantly opened the bedroom door. Kiao-yi glanced at me, then turned and said, "Let's go." I paused, feeling a twinge of disappointment. He doesn't seem too impressed with this dress. Silently picking up my bag from the sofa, I followed him downstairs. However, when I saw Kiao-yi standing in front of a Lamborghini and taking out the car keys, I was stunned. "This is your car?" Kiao-yi slowly turned around, raising an eyebrow at me. Aren't we going to crush a wedding? So, how about it, is this gear sufficient? Me. But, as Kyle Yi spoke, he moved closer to me. My heart skipped a beat, sensing trouble. He stopped about half a meter away, slowly bending down, his lips curving upward. This dress is much better than the earlier one. Because he was so close, his breath seemed to envelop me, and my face instantly flushed red. This guy, teasing people every now and then, who could stand it? Especially when he's dressed so handsomely today. It's oddly tempting to just pounce on him. Oh no. I need to stay reserved. Just as I was struggling internally, Qiao Yi suddenly straightened up, gave me a slight smile and said, "Get in." Me? The tiny flame that had just ignited inside me was silently extinguished. I quietly got into the passenger seat. Qiao Yi glanced at me. "Seatbelt." Ah! I was stunned, my mind still filled with the image of him leaning close to me just now. I hadn't snapped out of it. Qiao Yi flashed a roguish smile. "If Miss Lin wants me to buckle it for you, that's not impossible either." I finally caught on. This guy was deliberately teasing me. He too. I hurriedly buckled my seatbelt, turned my head angrily toward the window, and refused to look at him again. "Heard the one getting married today is your ex-boyfriend." Qiao Yi's voice suddenly broke the silence in the car. I paused, remembering now that Qiao Yi was pretending to be my boyfriend to attend my ex's wedding. Bringing a blind date to my ex's wedding. Just thinking about it makes me. It's all Hyewon's fault. Always coming up with these terrible ideas. Actually, you don't have to come with me. Clutching my bag, I said awkwardly. Don't listen to Hyewon's nonsense. I didn't even want to go originally. Qiao Yi turned his head, giving me a look. His deep eyes held a hint of scrutiny. You don't still have feelings for that ex, do you? Huh? I paused slightly, quickly denying it. No, and besides, he's getting married. Suddenly meeting Qiao Yi's gaze, for some reason I felt inexplicably guilty, my voice trailing off softer and softer. Qiao Yi soon looked away and stopped talking to me. The temperature in the car seemed to drop suddenly. The half-hour drive felt a bit torturous. Finally arriving at the wedding hotel, just as I was about to get out, Qiao Yi pressed his hand over mine. The warmth from his large, steady palm made me pause slightly. A magnetic voice sounded by my ear. Wait. My heart trembled slightly, this voice always feeling a bit electrifying. While I was dazed, Qiao Yi's gaze had slowly moved to my neck, examining it carefully. My mind buzzed. I remembered the one flaw of this dress was its low neckline. Thinking of something, my face flushed red. I hurriedly covered my chest with my hands, glaring at him in furious embarrassment. Just as I was about to scold this guy, I suddenly heard him say, "Something's missing here." Before I could react, I felt a cool sensation on my neck. Looking down, I saw a necklace had already been fastened around it. I paused slightly, swallowing the words on the tip of my tongue. So, was I overthinking and misunderstanding him just now? I stole a glance at Qiao Yi beside me. His incredibly handsome face was perfectly calm, none of the lewdness I'd imagined in his eyes. I pursed my lips silently, feeling a bit guilty for nearly labeling him a pervert earlier. Looking down at the necklace around my neck, the pendant was a star-shaped diamond, looking quite expensive. Only then did I react, quickly reaching to take it off. No, this is too valuable. The next second, his large hand covered mine. I looked up, meeting his gaze. Qiao Yi's lips curved slowly upward. Sister-in-law arranged this. Besides, his clear, bright eyes stared straight at me, making my heart flutter. Especially now, with his hand still over mine. A subtle, ambiguous atmosphere slowly filled the car. I blinked, looking at Qiao Yi, my heart racing wildly. Oh my god, I feel like I'm about to fall in. She said she wants you to be the brightest star at this wedding. How can you not have any accessories? Qiao Yi's words, neither rushed nor slow, reached my ears, snapping me back to reality. I quietly averted my gaze and withdrew my hand. So, it was just something Hyewon arranged. A faint sense of disappointment inexplicably rose in my heart. I shook my head, trying desperately to push away those messy thoughts. Right now, I was just grateful I hadn't said anything foolish in my daze. Forcing a smile, I smiled at him. Then let's get out. Qiao Yi's gaze swept over me, his eyes holding an inscrutable scrutiny. But I didn't dare think more, afraid of falling into another awkward, cringe-worthy situation. I hurriedly pushed the car door open and got out. Lin Yu? Unexpectedly, just after getting out, I met a pair of surprised eyes. My steps faltered. Seeing who was standing before me, I silently mourned for myself for 3 seconds. Oh my God. Am I still in my unlucky phase today? Quickly composing myself, I put on my signature smile and looked over. That's right. Standing before me were the 2 stars of today's wedding. My ex-boyfriend, Jiu Hui, and my college roommate, Zhao Yihan. So when you're down on your luck, even drinking water gets stuck in your teeth. I knew attending the wedding would inevitably mean meeting these 2, but I didn't expect it to be right now. Especially with Zhao Yihan intimately holding Jiu Hu's arm, her look shifting from surprise to showing off. Zhao Yu, I'm so happy you could come today. As she spoke, she looked around, then asked curiously, Huh? Are you alone? I paused, trying to think of what to say, when suddenly my waist was pulled tight, and I was drawn into an embrace. A magnetic voice sounded softly by my ear. Dear, you didn't wait for me after getting out. I stumbled, almost falling. Looking up, I saw Qiao Yi's smiling face. Look at you, always so careless. Qiao Yi held my waist with one hand, steadied my arm with the other, then looked at me with an indulgent expression. Me. Zhao Yu. Who is this? Zhao Yihan's voice chimed in at the wrong moment. Just as I was about to speak, Qiao Yi stepped in first. I'm Zhao Yu's boyfriend. Boyfriend. My heart fluttered slightly. Even though I knew it was an act, this guy always had a way of making you fall for it. Hearing Qiao Yi's words, Ji Hu's eyes tightened slightly, staring straight at me. Boyfriend, huh? Zhao Yihan's gaze shifted between me and Qiao Yi. Finally, she gave the slightly dazed Jiu Hui a light push. Zhao Yu, you're so lucky to have found such a handsome boyfriend. I glanced at her. Did I detect a hint of sourness? Ji Hu snapped back to reality, looking at me with an awkward smile. Yeah. When did you get a boyfriend? You didn't tell us. I was about to speak, but the next moment my waist was pulled tight again. Yao Yu wanted to surprise you. And, as Qiao Yi spoke, he turned to look at me, his eyes filled with deep affection. I'm the lucky one, meeting such a wonderful girlfriend like Zhao Yu. That's why I cherish her so much. I paused, looking into his eyes, unable to stop the ripples spreading through my heart. Haha, yeah. Zhao Yihan laughed awkwardly. Wow, the latest Lamborghini model. This model must cost over 10 million, right? Oh my God, whose luxury car is this? Suddenly, a crowd gathered at the entrance, surrounding Qiao Yi's car. I glanced silently at Qiao Yi. Then I saw this guy, expressionless and unruffled, toss the car keys to the valet attendant. Please park it in the underground garage. As soon as he spoke, everyone's eyes turned toward him, including Jiu Hui and Zhao Yihan's. Zhao Yu, is this your car? Zhao Yihan's face showed a hint of admiration, with perhaps a trace of jealousy. Qiao Yi took my hand, giving them a faint smile. Yeah. If I'd known it would cause a stir, I would have brought the Maybach instead. Me? Rubbing my forehead in frustration, I gently tugged his sleeve, whispering close to his ear. You're overdoing it. Qiao Yi turned to look at me, then gave me an indulgent glance. Okay, whatever my girlfriend says. In that moment, I felt all sorts of stares from every direction. Zhao Yihan's smile visibly stiffened. Your boyfriend treats you so well. Boyfriend? Qiao Yi? I secretly glanced up at the man beside me. Even though he often puts me in awkward situations, I have to admit, just now he really made me feel cherished. Being his girlfriend would probably be very happy. What am I daydreaming about? Realizing I'd actually had the thought of wanting to be his girlfriend, my face instantly flushed red. I cautiously glanced up at Qiao Yi. Unexpectedly, he also turned to look at me just then, a faint smile still on his lips. Maybe it's my guilt, but I felt that smile held some other special meaning. Flustered, I turned my head away, my heart racing wildly. He couldn't have noticed something, could he? Ah, so embarrassing. You're not thinking of greeting guests with the bride and groom, are you? Qiao Yi suddenly lowered his head, leaning close to my ear, whispering softly. A faint masculine scent enveloped me, making me a little dizzy. Huh? I stared blankly at Qiao Yi. The next second, the grip on my hand suddenly tightened, painfully so. I snapped back to reality and looked up at him innocently. Right then, Qiao Yi's deep eyes held a trace of some indescribable emotion, staring straight at me. My heart trembled slightly, and I felt myself about to fall into it. But in the blink of an eye, his eyes regained their familiar teasing glint. I pursed my lips. Did I imagine it just now? Qiao Yi's lips curved up slightly, that faint, roguish smile reappearing as he whispered by my ear. Girlfriend, don't give us away. His words felt like a bucket of cold water poured over my head, snapping me awake instantly. I lowered my eyes, hiding the disappointment in them. So he was just reminding me, we're only pretending to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Hurriedly lowering my head to conceal my emotions, I took out the gift envelope and handed it to the bridesmaid beside Ji Yuhui and Xiao Yihan, smiling at them. Well, we'll head in first. With that, I pulled Qiao Yi inside. Only when we reached a less crowded area did I slowly let go of his hand. Suddenly missing the warmth in my palm, I realized, with a pang of reluctance, that I felt reluctant. Biting my lip, I mumbled softly with my head down. Thank you for today. If you have something else to do, you can leave first. Qiao Yi's eyes narrowed slightly. He turned and backed me into a corner. His voice was so deep that it was a bit terrifying. Miss Lin, do you always use people and then discard them? His hands held me firmly in place, forcing me to look up and meet his gaze. Qiao Yi's incredibly beautiful eyes now held a faint trace of anger. I was stunned. Why was he so angry? Wait. Now's not the time for these messy thoughts. What did he just say? Use him and discard him. I haven't used him at all. Then, in a burst of heat, I blurted out, when did I ever use you? But as soon as the words left my mouth, I regretted it. What did I just say? My face flushed completely, and I didn't dare look up at him. An ambiguous yet slightly awkward atmosphere slowly enveloped us. For a moment there was only silence. After a pause, a magnetic, velvety voice tinged with amusement slowly broke the stillness. PFFT, so Miss Lin has thought about using me. My heart sank. This felt not good. Looking up, sure enough, this guy Qiao Yi was looking at me with that half smile, his eyes full of banter. What sin did I commit to be saying such audacious words to this guy in public? In a fit of embarrassed anger, I pushed him with all my might. Unexpectedly, Qiao Yi suddenly let go. Caught off balance, and because of my heels, I stumbled forward and fell straight down. I closed my eyes in fear. Being with this guy always brings trouble. Wearing heels and a dress, falling flat on my face, destined to be the joke of this wedding. I silently mourned for myself for a second. But the expected faceplant didn't happen. Instead, I felt a large hand wrap around my waist, and I stumbled into a warm embrace. Slowly opening my eyes, I met Qiao Yi's smiling eyes. I paused, a familiar scene flashing through my mind that day at the bar. It was like this too. He caught me as I was about to fall. Miss Lin, do you enjoy throwing yourself into my arms so much? Qiao Yi's brows lifted slightly, a roguish smile playing on his lips. Even though I knew he was teasing me, I couldn't help but feel drawn in. Okay, I admit it in this moment. I'm gone. Click. A camera shutter suddenly sounded nearby, snapping me back to reality. I scrambled to get up from Qiao Yi. Qiao Yi's handsome brows furrowed slightly. He turned, shielding me behind him, his eyes cooling as he glanced calmly at the man who had taken the photo. Peeking out from behind Qiao Yi, I saw a man across from us with a camera. He looked quite young. Hello, I'm the assistant photographer for today's wedding. The young man stepped forward, smiling apologetically, and quickly explaining. My boss asked me to take more photos of the guests for a small activity later during the banquet. I saw your moment just now, it was stunning, and couldn't help but take a shot. You don't mind, do you? I paused, involuntarily looking up at Qiao Yi. Qiao Yi also turned to look at me just then. Our eyes met unexpectedly, and my heart started racing uncontrollably again. Flustered, I looked away. Just as I was about to speak, a magnetic voice sounded by my ear. "We don't mind, right, dear?" I froze, staring blankly at Qiao Yi. I saw Qiao Yi tilting his head, his incredibly beautiful eyes looking at me tenderly. In that moment, it seemed like his eyes held only me. My heart fluttered with confusion and helplessness, and I said without thinking, Only after speaking did I react. "Wait, what am I hmming for? Don't mind my foot." Thinking about that awkward pose with Qiao Yi being captured and shown at Jiyu Hu and Zhao Yihan's wedding banquet, I instantly panicked. No, I do, ma'am. Ah, that's great. I'll go edit it right away. Your photo is sure to wow everyone. The photographer guy immediately got excited. By the way, you're a couple, right? Are you married? I paused, the word mind stuck in my throat, scared back down by his question. Married? I stood there dumbfounded, unable to react for a moment. Just then, my right hand was suddenly pulled by a large hand. The familiar warmth returned to my palm, and then I heard Qiao Yi's incredibly gentle voice. "We're working toward marriage." I stiffened, quickly looking up at him. Qiao Yi's eyes held an unprecedented depth of affection as he gazed at me. I felt a bit dazed. In that moment, I almost forgot we were only pretending to be a couple. For a split second, I wanted to lose myself in it and never wake up. "Ah, that's wonderful." The photographer brother's excited voice suddenly came from across us. His voice instantly snapped me back to reality. I quietly lowered my eyes to hide the earlier awkwardness. Almost ruined my lifelong reputation. At this moment, I even felt a bit grateful to the young man for pulling me back to reality in time. Qiao Yi shot him a cold look. "Wonderful?" "Ah, no, you misunderstood. I didn't mean it that way." Realizing his mistake, the guy quickly explained, "I meant you two look so perfect together, and you both have such great figures. If you haven't taken wedding photos yet, you should come to our studio. We'll definitely make you look amazing." As he spoke, he eagerly handed over a business card. Qiao Yi's furrowed brows finally relaxed. He turned to look at me, a slight curve appearing on his lips. I paused, sensing something bad. The next second, I saw him reach out and take the card, giving the photographer guy a slow smile. "Okay, we'll contact you then." I looked at Qiao Yi in surprise, but my heart raced uncontrollably, even rising with a faint sense of excitement that I couldn't shake off. The photographer guy waved goodbye excitedly, repeatedly urging us to be sure to look him up. Finally, managing to conceal my inner panic, I pretended to be calm and looked at Qiao Yi. "Why did you take his card? It's not like we're really going to take wedding photos." Qiao Yi's lips curved. "Might be useful someday." I was taken aback. What did he mean by that? But my mind involuntarily conjured up scenes of taking wedding photos with him. Thinking about it, my earlobe slowly grew warm, and my heartbeat quickened. I hurriedly snapped back to reality, guiltily averting my eyes. Well, people these days just say nice things to get business. Don't take it seriously. Qiao Yi glanced at me, then a roguish smile touched his lips. But he did say one thing quite well. As Qiao Yi spoke, he slowly leaned closer to me, until he was near my neck, whispering softly. He said, "You and I look very well matched." I stood there dumbfounded, unable to snap out of it for a long time. My mind was completely occupied by his words. "You and I look very well matched." So much so that later, how he led me to sit at the banquet, the entire process I couldn't remember afterward. It wasn't until he once screamed loudly in my ear that I came back to my senses. Then I discovered, to my surprise, that everyone at the banquet was exclaiming and staring at the screen. "Sweetie, you two move so fast. Tell me, how did you win him over? I never realized before that you were such a go-getter." He fired off a series of questions in my ear, leaving me bewildered. "What? Still playing dumb?" He nudged me with a mischievous smile, pointing toward the screen. "The evidence is right there. Confess." I hurriedly looked ahead, and then I saw the photo of Qiao Yi holding me, prominently displayed on the big screen. At that moment, I finally understood what everyone was exclaiming about. I was stunned, wishing I could crawl under the table immediately. Oh my God, so embarrassing. Sweetie, you're amazing. I knew you'd wow the whole wedding, but I never thought it'd be like this. This is perfect. That dog woman. He won. Never one to shy away from stirring trouble. Loudly gave a thumbs up to me. Embarrassed, I lowered my head, wanting to cover her mouth. Yeah, Zhao Yu, when did you find such a handsome boyfriend? You didn't even introduce us. Right. When are you treating us to the wedding banquet? The others at the table were all our college classmates, crowding around to ask. My cheeks flushed red, and I lowered my head even further. Once our wedding is settled, we'll send you invitations. A magnetic voice sounded calmly beside me. I froze in place, staring blankly at Qiao Yi sitting next to me. Qiao Yi smiled at everyone at the table, then calmly took my hand, giving me a slight smile. Right, dear? Wow, so handsome. Ah, Zhao Yu, you're so lucky. In that moment, only one thought remained in my mind. I want this act to become real. Throughout the banquet, Qiao Yi kept serving me food, taking care of me meticulously, once again making everyone else at the table envious. Xiao Yu, your boyfriend treats you so much better than Jiu Hu did. I'm not sure who suddenly said that. The others at the table immediately fell silent, glancing at each other awkwardly, sinking into extreme embarrassment. My heart trembled. The first thing I did was turn to look at Qiao Yi. He was lowering his head, intently peeling shrimp, seemingly unaffected by the comment. I pursed my lips, unsure if he hadn't heard it, or if he had, and simply had no reaction. Nonsense. Exactly. Come on, let's eat. Someone smoothed things over, finally steering the conversation away from that topic. I quietly sighed in relief. Truth be told, I knew that my past with Ji Yu Hui and Zhao Yihan would inevitably come up today. If it weren't for being unable to refuse Yihuan's insistence, I wouldn't have wanted to come. It's not that I haven't moved on from Ji Yu Hui, but rather I didn't want to deal with this kind of situation, and I couldn't be bothered to respond. Looking back, Ji Yu Hu and I were actually only together for 3 months. Back then, he was the one who pursued me. Xiao Yihan and I were not only roommates but also in the same club. Ji Yu Hu was a year above us and served as our club head. I can't say I had any special feelings for Ji Yu Hui. It's just that whenever he chatted with me, we got along well, and gradually we spent more time together. At a gathering, Ji Hu took my hand in front of everyone and confessed. To be honest, I wasn't particularly fond of Ji Hu at the time. I just felt comfortable talking with him. In that moment, I thought, why not give it a try? So I agreed to be his girlfriend. During the initial phase of our relationship, Ji Hu treated me quite well, and I wholeheartedly considered him my boyfriend. But later, his attitude toward me gradually cooled, and he reached out less often. Back then, he poked my forehead, saying, I can't believe you fell for that scumbag Ji Yu Hui. I paused, unable to find the words to explain. 3 months later, Ji Yu Hui broke up with me via text message. I found it quite laughable. A man who didn't even dare to break up in person. Yihuan was furious and dragged me to the boys' dormitory to confront Ji Hui. That's when we witnessed Ji Hui and Jiu Yan kissing. Rumors spread across campus that I was bitter and unable to accept the breakup. Yihuan was livid and demanded that Ji Hu give me an explanation. Ji Hu looked at me awkwardly, hesitating for a long time before finally saying, I'm sorry. I calmly glanced at him, then at Zhao Yihan hiding behind him, and smiled. You should apologize, but I don't accept it. Ji Hu was stunned. Without another look, I took Yihuan's hand and walked away. From behind, Ji Hu's voice called out, Xiao Yu, can we still be friends? My steps faltered slightly. I never thought the question of whether exes can remain friends would one day be directed at me. Honestly, after breaking up with Ji Hui, I was only upset for a short while before moving on. Yihuan, however, worried I might take it hard and stayed by my side during that time. I left the club, but since Ji Hu was a senior in my year, we still crossed paths occasionally. What I didn't expect was that he and Zhao Yihan would send me a wedding invitation. Have some shrimp. A magnetic voice beside me pulled me out of my memories. I looked up and met Qiao Yi's incredibly handsome eyes, which held an emotion I couldn't quite decipher. I averted my gaze. Honestly, Qiao Yi was truly good-looking. Exactly the type of guy I'd consider my ideal. Not only was he handsome, but he was also incredibly considerate toward his girlfriend. Thinking about it, I couldn't help but recall how I once imagined taking wedding photos with Qiao Yi. At that thought, I guiltily lowered my head. Then, I noticed my bowl was filled with peeled shrimp. Ah, such enviable love. Yuan clicked her tongue, then heavily kicked Cheng Yu beside her. Look at him, then look at you. Cheng Yu, who had been eating happily, looked up in confusion, and cast a helpless glance at Qiao Yi. Collateral damage? Qiao Yi coolly raised an eyebrow. Watching them, I couldn't help but smile. Come on, it's this table's turn. But soon, Jiu Hui and Zhao Yihan came over to toast, shattering the harmonious atmosphere. Everyone at the table stood up, offering congratulations with tacit understanding. Given what had happened earlier, the atmosphere felt somewhat awkward. Jiu Hui and Zhao Yihan toasted each person one by one. When it was my turn, Jiu Hui paused his glass in front of me. Holding my glass, I looked at him and Zhao Yihan, smiled, and said, Congratulations. Wishing you a happy union for 100 years. Thank you, Jiu Hui said, pausing to look at me, somewhat dazed. Zhao Yihan wore a stiff smile and tugged at his sleeve with slight displeasure. Jiu Hui slowly snapped out of it, then smiled at us. Come on, let's all toast together. You're not a good drinker. Have this instead. At that moment, a magnetic voice chimed in unexpectedly. Before I knew it, the glass in my hand had been swapped for juice. Qiao Yi wrapped his arm around my shoulder, looking at me affectionately. I paused. This guy really... Jiu Hu and Zhao Yihan's smile stiffened. They quickly finished the toast and hurriedly moved to the next table. After the wedding banquet, as we left the hotel, Yuan finally couldn't hold back and burst into laughter. Did you see Zhao Yihan's livid face? It's absolutely hilarious. She must regret inviting you to the wedding now. Don't think I don't know her little scheme. She just wanted to show off in front of you. As she spoke, Yuan patted Qiao Yi's shoulder and gave him a thumbs up. Dude, well done. Cheng Yu stood behind her, helplessly rubbing his forehead. Embarrassed, I pulled Yuan aside. All right, it's their big day after all, double quotes. Yuan shrugged. Fine, then I wish the scumbag and the homewrecker a long and happy life together. Speaking of which, Yuan sneakily glanced at Qiao Yi, then wrapped an arm around my shoulder. Why didn't you wear the dress I gave you? If you had, the effect would have been explosive. I rubbed my forehead in frustration. Sis, did you even look at that dress? The entire back was exposed. People would have wondered what I was there for. But speaking of dresses, I suddenly remembered the necklace I was wearing, and hurriedly took it off to hand it to her. Oh right. Here, this is yours. Yuan was slightly taken aback. She looked at the necklace, puzzled. For me? This isn't mine. My hand holding the necklace froze, and I instinctively glanced toward Qiao Yi. But this necklace? Yuan stared curiously at the necklace in my hand. Oh, never mind. I remembered wrong. I borrowed it from someone else. I quickly turned away, but my hand unconsciously tightened around the necklace. Really? Yuan raised an eyebrow at me, amused, then leaned in to whisper, Babe, you're done for. You're falling in love. I was momentarily stunned. Falling in love? With Qiao Yi? While I was lost in thought, Yuan walked over to Qiao Yi, said something to him, then waved at me with a mischievous grin before leaving with Cheng Yu in their car. Did that woman Yuan just abandon me like that? My sister-in-law asked me to take you home. Qiao Yi slowly walked up to me, his eyes twinkling with amusement. Realizing I'd be alone with him again, my heart started racing wildly. Let's go, girlfriend? He tilted his head, a roguish smile on his handsome face. Girlfriend? My mind went blank for a moment. His words reminded me. We were only pretending to be a couple. Now that the wedding was over, he was no longer my boyfriend. At that thought, I felt an inexplicable pang of sadness. Silently, I tightened my grip on the necklace in my hand, thinking I'd return it to him later. I followed him into the car. Throughout the ride, neither of us spoke. When the car finally stopped, Kiao Yi slowly turned to look at me. After a long moment, he frowned and asked, "Are you unhappy?" I paused, feeling awkward that he discovered my secret, especially since it was related to him. I never considered myself impulsive when it came to feelings. Even with Ji Hua during our relationship, I never felt particularly passionate. But with Kiao Yi, my heart kept losing control. And yet this was only my second time meeting Kiao Yi. The fact that I was falling for a man I'd only met twice surprised even me, let alone Kiao Yi. If he found out about my feelings, would he think I was being too forward? At that thought, I lowered my head, afraid he'd notice the turmoil in my heart. "Are you unhappy because your ex-boyfriend got married?" "Huh?" I paused, looked up, and stared at him, confused. Kiao Yi's hands tightened on the steering wheel, and the atmosphere in the car seemed tense. Maybe it was my imagination, but even though his handsome face remained the same, I sensed he was a little angry. Angry? Could it be ... he was jealous? The thought flashed through my mind, and a wave of joy surged within me. Without thinking, I looked up, only to find Kiao Yi turning toward me at the same moment. And then, by sheer coincidence ... my lips brushed against his chin. I actually kissed Kiao Yi. At that moment, I was completely stunned ... Realizing what I'd done, my face flushed bright red with embarrassment. I quickly pulled back, sitting upright in my seat, not daring to look at him. That was an accident, you know? I nervously gripped my purse, too afraid to lift my head. The air grew still. So still that all I could hear was the rapid thumping of my own heart. Does Miss Lin not want to take responsibility? A teasing voice suddenly broke the silence in the car. I froze, instinctively looking up at him. Kiao Yi was lounging against the seatback, his long fingers lightly tapping the steering wheel. He tilted his head, his gaze fixed intently on me, and in his incredibly handsome eyes, there was a roguish glint of amusement. All right. At that moment, I admitted I was completely smitten. Staring at his handsome face, I opened my mouth to speak but swallowed my words. After hesitating for what felt like an eternity, even I was surprised when I finally managed to say, "Then, how do you want me to take responsibility?" Oh my God. The moment the words left my mouth, I was utterly stunned. Was I an idiot? How could I say something like that? Then I saw the smile in Kiao Yi's eyes deepen, his expression softening even further. I was so embarrassed I wanted to disappear into the ground. Before he could respond, I quickly pushed the car door open and ran ... Yes, you heard that right. I ran. I sprinted all the way home and slammed the door shut. But before I could catch my breath, my phone dinged with a new message. I took a moment to calm down and was about to check my phone when I noticed the necklace still clutched in my hand. Crap. I meant to return it to him before getting out of the car, but after what just happened, I completely forgot. I rubbed my temples in frustration, set the necklace aside, and pulled out my phone. There was a new friend request on my phone. The profile picture was a handsome silhouette, and the username was QY. With a guilty conscience, I immediately guessed it was Kiao Yi. My mind involuntarily replayed the moment my lips brushed against his chin. Then my hand trembled and I accidentally hit decline. At that moment, I wanted to die. What should I do? I actually declined his friend request. Would he never want to talk to me again? After cursing myself 180 times in my head, I let out a deep sigh. I finally found someone I liked, and I just single-handedly snuffed out this budding romance. Just as I was mourning my short-lived love life, my phone rang with an unknown number. "Open the door." A familiar voice came through the phone, and I froze. Kiao Yi? He was at my door. Before I could react, his voice sounded again. "If you don't open the door, I'm going to get taken away." Huh? I was momentarily confused, then heard girls' voices outside my door. "Wow, he's so handsome. Hey, can I get your number?" What? Someone was trying to hit on Kiao Yi, right in front of me. Then, driven by some inexplicable courage, I swung the door open, pulled Kiao Yi behind me, and glared angrily at the two girls staring dreamily at him. "He's my boyfriend." As soon as the words left my mouth, I regretted them. The boldness I felt a second ago vanished, replaced by sheer panic. I cautiously glanced back at Qiao Yi, afraid he'd expose my lie. Yeah, I'm her boyfriend. Qiao Yi wore a gentle smile as he wrapped his arm around me. Thump. 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 My heart raced wildly. My mind went blank, unable to form a single coherent thought. What did he just say? I'm his girlfriend. A sweet feeling slowly spread through my heart. I secretly looked up and met his perfectly sculpted chin. This was the same chin I'd accidentally kissed in the car earlier. At that thought, my cheeks flushed bright red. Ah, what a shame. The two girls in front of us finally walked away reluctantly. I let out a quiet sigh of relief. But then it hit me, Qiao Yi was still holding me. And I just called him my boyfriend. Could I please disappear into the ground right now? Girlfriend, aren't you going to invite me in? Qiao Yi turned me around, bent down slightly, and looked at me with an amused smile. In the end, I timidly stepped aside and let Qiao Yi in. But once he was inside, I immediately regretted it. Girlfriend, why so quiet? Weren't you quite the bold one earlier? Qiao Yi sat on the sofa, resting his chin on his hand, smiling as he looked at me. I froze. Just thinking about how I declared Qiao Yi my boyfriend like an idiot made me want to vanish into thin air. I don't get the wrong idea. I was just double quotes. I know. This is you taking responsibility. Qiao Yi cut me off before I could finish. Huh? I blinked, staring at him blankly, not quite following. I get it. My girlfriend is shy. Qiao Yi winked at me. This guy just winked at me. I'm done for. I didn't even fully process what he just said. No. This guy is way too smooth. If this continues, I'm afraid I won't be able to resist pouncing on him. I quickly averted my gaze, trying to calm myself down. Then my eyes landed on the necklace on the table. Oh, right. The necklace. I hurried over, picked it up, and handed it to him. Here, this is yours. Qiao Yi glanced at the necklace in my hand, paused for a moment, then smiled slowly. He reached out and pulled me into his arms. It's a gift for my girlfriend. Looking up at Qiao Yi's handsome face this close, I gulped. If this guy keeps this up, I really won't be able to control myself. Wait, what did he just say? A gift for my girlfriend. Girlfriend ... meaning me ... My heart trembled slightly. What should I do? My defenses are about to crumble completely. I bit my lower lip hard, the pain bringing me back to reality. I quickly pulled away from his embrace. No, this is too expensive. And besides, our relationship ... What kind of relationship do we have? Qiao Yi cut me off again, a slight smirk playing on his lips. Aren't we boyfriend and girlfriend? I stared at him in shock. He said we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Then I watched as Qiao Yi stood up from the sofa and walked toward me, step by step. My heart raced faster and faster. Why is he getting so close? Could it be ... At that thought, my face turned even redder. Looking back, my only relationship was with Ji Hui, and that only involved holding hands. But now, as Qiao Yi drew closer, my mind wandered to other things ... He Huan often said I was too reserved. But now I realize it's not that I'm reserved. I just hadn't met the right person. Actually, if it's Qiao Yi, it might not be so bad ... My thoughts drifted further and further. In the blink of an eye, Qiao Yi was standing right in front of me. He bent down slightly, meeting my eyes. At that moment, I felt my heart was about to leap out of my chest. Is it really happening? A faint smile curved Qiao Yi's lips. He reached out and gently patted my head. Be good. Get some rest, girlfriend. I blinked, my mind still hazy, not fully processing what was happening. That's it. By the time I came to my senses, Qiao Yi was already at the door. His slender fingers rested on the doorknob. As if suddenly remembering something, he paused, turned back and smiled at me. Oh, and girlfriend, don't forget to accept my friend request. I was stunned. By the time I looked up again, Qiao Yi had already opened the door and left. I slumped onto the sofa in a daze. So ... Qiao Yi and I are boyfriend and girlfriend now. Bewildered, I picked up my phone. There was a friend request waiting, username still QY. I paused, then tapped accept. Soon I received his message. Good night, girlfriend. I stared at that message for several minutes, my mind buzzing with a single thought. Did I really, in this hazy way, become Kiao Yi's girlfriend? When I told Huan about it, the woman laughed so hard on the other end of the phone she could barely catch her breath. Babe, you've made it. So, who made the first move, exactly? I froze. Who made the first move? Strictly speaking, it seems like it was me. After all, once the fake boyfriend-girlfriend act was over, I was the one who accidentally kissed him and claimed he was my boyfriend. Just thinking about it, I buried my face in the blanket in shame. I never imagined that I, Lin Yu, would one day be so forward. Thanks to Kiao Yi, I didn't sleep a wink all night. Well, the truth is, I was so overly excited that I accidentally started fantasizing about a future with Kiao Yi. The next day, I was woken up by an urgent doorbell. Babe, open up! Alright. Huan had rushed over first thing in the morning, with a resigned-looking Chen Yu in tow. Kiao Yi said we were celebrating at his place today and asked us to bring you over. Celebrating at home? I blinked in confusion. Celebrating what? Huan poked my forehead in exasperation. Dummy. Celebrating you two getting together, of course. I jolted, instantly understanding, and felt my cheeks grow warm without me even noticing. Huan pulled me into the bedroom, fussed over me for a while, then nodded in satisfaction. Good. This is your first day as a couple. Perfect. Looking at my meticulously made-up face in the mirror, I felt a quiet thrill inside. Am I really in a relationship? Just thinking that it was with Kiao Yi made me smile involuntarily. My mind filled with thoughts of him. Huan happily dragged me into the car. Cheng Yu sighed. Never thought the one to finally snag that guy would be Xiao Yu. Huan shot him a triumphant look. My girl is amazing. Your buddy is the lucky one. Chen Yu chuckled. Yes. But you know, before, that guy said he already had someone in his heart. I thought. He suddenly stopped, realizing he'd said something wrong, an awkward look on his face. Someone in his heart. My heart sank, and the smile froze on my face. Hey, nonsense. Huan glared at Cheng Yu, then turned to pat my hand reassuringly. Babe, don't worry. Kiao Yi doesn't have anyone else in his heart. Right. We were just joking around before. Cheng Yu quickly steered the conversation elsewhere. I didn't hear anything else Huan and Cheng Yu said after that. My mind was completely occupied by his earlier words. So ... Kiao Yi had someone else in his heart before. To be honest, strictly speaking, Kiao Yi and I had only met a few times. I knew nothing about his past. If he really did have someone else in his heart. At that thought, an inexplicable sadness washed over me. Cheng Yu parked the car in front of a high-end residential complex. Huan smiled and winked at me. All right. Mission accomplished. I looked at her in surprise. Huh? Aren't you guys coming? Huan glanced at Cheng Yu, and they shared a knowing smile. What? So we can be third wheels? All right. Hurry up and get out. Kiao Yi's waiting for you. Before I could react, Huan had already pushed me out of the car. She leaned in and whispered in my ear. Happy single no more. I was stunned. Then I saw Huan get back into the car with a mischievous grin and wave at me. I sent you the building address. Watching the car speed away, I felt a bit helpless. Single no more. Somehow, Cheng Yu's words still lingered in my mind. I received the detailed address from Huan on my phone. I pursed my lips, feeling a bit down as I walked toward Kiao Yi's place. I walked slowly, wondering what to say when I saw Kiao Yi, or whether I should ask him clearly about that person in his heart. As I walked, I looked up and suddenly saw a young man and woman locked in a tight embrace not far ahead. I froze. The man had his back to me, but I recognized his silhouette immediately. It was Kiao Yi. I stood rooted to the spot, dumbfounded. Chen Yu's words echoed in my mind. Kiao Yi has someone in his heart. I didn't know what I was feeling as I looked at the girl in Kiao Yi's arms. Her features were delicate and pretty, and she seemed well matched with Kiao Yi. My heart felt like it had plunged into icy water, aching terribly. Just as tears were about to spill, I abruptly turned away, not daring to look anymore. So what am I now? So was it all just me being delusional? The thought of falling in love only to find it was all a joke made me afraid I'd burst into tears if I stayed any longer. I turned to run away. But the next second, a hand grabbed my arm, and a magnetic voice sounded above my head. "What are you running for?" I froze, slowly turning to see Qiao Yi's face. Still as handsome as ever, but my heart ached with a tight pain. My gaze fell on the girl behind him. I forced a smile, looking at Qiao Yi with a hint of sarcasm curling my lips. "Qiao Yi, this joke has gone far enough." "What?" Qiao Yi was taken aback, frowning in confusion. I opened my mouth to speak, but suddenly heard a soft, amused voice coming from behind Qiao Yi. "Bro, is this my future sister-in-law?" I jolted, looking up. The voice belonged to the girl behind Qiao Yi. My mind went blank. Huh? Sister-in-law? Aren't you going to introduce me, bro? The girl looked at me with a smile. Her eyes filled with delight. Qiao Yi didn't look at her. Instead, he lowered his head and gazed at me gently, his eyes sparkling like stars, breathtakingly beautiful. After a moment, the corners of his lips curved up slightly, and he said softly, "This is my sister Qiao Nuo." So I misunderstood. They're siblings? Thinking about how I mistook Qiao Nuo for the person in Qiao Yi's heart, and acted all jealous and heartbroken. My face flushed bright red with embarrassment. "Hi, sis-in-law." Qiao Nuo tilted her head, glanced at Qiao Yi, then looked at me, her eyes full of laughter. Mortified, I awkwardly greeted her. "Hi, I'm Lin, double quotes. I know." Qiao Nuo smiled warmly at me, a meaningful look in her eyes. "Actually, I've known about you for a long time. I paused, looking at her in confusion. "Don't you have somewhere to be? Shouldn't you get going?" Qiao Yi glanced at Qiao Nuo, seemingly reminding her casually. "Ah, right. Right, row." Seemingly reminding her casually. "Ah, sis-in-law, I have things to do. See you next time." Qiao Nuo caught on, turned and winked at Qiao Yi, then hurried away. I blinked, still processing. Then, Qiao Yi pulled me into his embrace. He bent down slightly, leaning close to my ear, his breath warm against my skin. "Girlfriend, were you jealous just now?" In an instant, his scent enveloped me, and the heat I'd managed to cool down started rising to my cheeks again. Blushing, I hid my face against his chest, not daring to look up. But my mind couldn't help but recall Chen Yu's words about Qiao Yi having someone in his heart. I sobered up a bit. I bit my lip, struggling internally for a long time. Finally, I slowly looked up at him. "Did you have someone you liked before?" As I said this, I was incredibly nervous. I was both afraid he'd think I was being petty and terrified of his confirmation. Qiao Yi looked at me and nodded seriously. "Yes." My gaze tightened and my heart plummeted. So it's true. He did have someone else in his heart. "Silly, that person is you." Qiao Yi reached out and ruffled my hair, his voice gentle. I froze. "What?" "The person in Qiao Yi's heart is me?" I stood there blankly, looking at him in a daze. Qiao Yi curled his lips and slowly took my hand. "Come with me." In a haze, I followed Qiao Yi into his apartment. He led me to the sofa and sat me down, speaking softly. "Actually, this isn't the first time I've seen you." I stared at him, puzzled. Qiao Yi lowered his head with a smile, then took out his phone and gestured for me to look. I glanced at his phone screen and was stunned. On Qiao Yi's phone was a photo of a girl, and it was unmistakably me. I was completely bewildered. What on earth was going on? "Wait, this photo looks familiar. See it?" Qiao Yi looked at me with a smile. My head was spinning, but I recognized the photo. It was from when I was a bridesmaid at Huan and Cheng Yu's wedding. But why did Qiao Yi have it? In an instant, pieces started clicking into place in my mind. I stared at him in surprise, suddenly remembering something. "You're that groomsman who suddenly left halfway?" The smile on Qiao Yi's lips deepened. On the day of Huan and Cheng Yu's wedding, Huan had wanted to introduce me to one of Cheng Yu's groomsmen. But something came up unexpectedly, and I heard that groomsman had to leave suddenly. He Huan regretted it for a long time afterward. I had just shrugged at the time, joking that we must not be destined. But I never imagined that groomsman was Kiao Yi. My mom was suddenly hospitalized that day. The doctors here couldn't do anything, so I had to send her abroad for treatment. I didn't expect to be gone for 3 years. As he spoke, Kiao Yi gently took my hand, his lips curving into a smile. Miss Lin, I've kept you waiting for the past 3 years. I blinked, finally piecing everything together. So ... The person in Kiao Yi's heart was me? MEANIG, I got jealous of myself. At that thought, my heart suddenly felt light and free. I looked up at Kiao Yi, a smile touching my lips. So Mr. Kiao, was it love at first sight for you? Kiao Yi slowly wrapped his arm around my shoulders and grinned. No, it was captivated by your beauty at first sight. The first thing I did when I got home was call He Huan. Tell me, did you know all along? He Huan laughed heartily on the other end of the line. Yes. So, are you satisfied with my arrangement or not? I paused, then suddenly smiled. Satisfied? Absolutely, perfectly satisfied. Much later, I found out that the New Year's gathering, complete with the tarot card reader, was all part of Kiao Yi's long-planned scheme. Even He Huan and Cheng Yu were completely unaware beforehand. It wasn't until He Huan went and grilled Kiao Yi that he told her the truth, conveniently pulling her into his scheming camp. I looked at Kiao Yi teasingly. Weren't you afraid I wouldn't be interested in you back then? Kiao Yi wrapped his arms around me, pulling me close to his chest, and said softly, Then I would have chased you to the ends of the earth until you said yes. I smiled and hugged him tightly. 6 months into our relationship, Kiao Yi proposed. He slipped the ring onto my finger and said with a slight smile, Miss Lin, my tarot reading was accurate, wasn't it? I remembered that on the day we first met, he said I would meet my Prince Charming this year and have a beautiful outcome like marriage. I lowered my head and smiled. So, everything had been part of his plan all along. Lost in thought, I suddenly felt warm lips press against mine. I blinked, staring dumbly at Kiao Yi's handsome face so close to mine. Then I saw a roguish smile slowly spread in Kiao Yi's incredibly handsome eyes. Of course, if Miss Lin wishes to seek blessings for a child, I'll continue to put in the effort. My face flushed bright red, and I reached out to hold him tight. The luckiest thing in the world is when the person you love happens to love you back.